I spent $15,146 on Whiteout survival in 108 days, and today we're on day 2 of state versus state prep, and I'm going to show you how we're doing because I'm also going to talk about state politics. This is how things are going, and I want to talk about what we're doing about it and why. So take a look at this. We did actually stop spending for state versus state prep, but it wasn't too far off. This is how much our opponent in 3772 is doing, and this is how we were doing in total points right now. But here's the thing. First of all, I want to call out, if you're from either state, like I have fans in both states, there's people who, anything I say tonight, if you're from my state, don't take it personally. I'm kind of giving some commentary and calling it the way I see it. And if you're from 3772, a bunch of you, like I think maybe 3 or 4 people reached out. And if you're representative of your entire state, what a great state you guys got going over there, because very nice to talk to some of you folks, and, good like sportsmanships and good communications and things like this. So it's all good on that front. But let me explain what's happening here. So essentially, we had people in our state, and including in my alliance, nobody's immune from this comment, that used too much, too fast, outside of the state versus state prep. And it was probably a lot to do with the 3rd-year anniversary event and some other events. They wanted to rank, they wanted to pull power. They didn't really understand. And I still think even some people in our own alliance don't understand this. Like they had the mentality that, let me just spend anyways. I'll just use the fire crystals now, and then I'll spend more for state versus state prep. So they thought they could just throw money at it. Here's the problem. So first of all, again, if you look at state 3772, when we did a little scouting on the state, they have 4 players stronger than being Labyrinth. That means they're going to be able to run double rally at least, and then replace with a double. Like there's nothing we are going to be able to do. Like I am the highest Labyrinth in our current state. The second Whale is, under me by a bit, by I would say kind of a good ways. And then everybody else falls off from there. There's nothing we're going to be able to do essentially to be able to hold castle. So I was having a discussion with our own leadership, and then I started having discussions with other people in the state's leadership. And we agreed that like what we need to do right now is help everybody in our state understand what happened and why, lick our wounds. Basically, we're going to kind of give up this SvS. That's what we're going to do. And I, a lot of this falls on, I want to say leadership for not educating people, but our own alliance is not immune to this. We've had people in our own alliance that we despite our attempts to educate and help them understand, still used too many fire crystals, still used too many resources that are important for state versus state prep. And this is the result. It's just not, it's easy to see. Like this is something that 1 or 2 or even 10 players can't pull you out of. It's got to be an entire state working together. So if this has happened to you, I want to hear about it in the comments. What helped you educate the players in your entire state? Did you have to just ultimately transfer out, or was there something you could do to help people? I mean, I hope that losing this epically would help them understand. But still, some people were upset when we made this announcement, like, hey, we're going to stop spending for SvS because we're going to kind of like conserve our resources for the next one. We're intentionally giving this one up, and then we're going to, try to do better the next time, because this doesn't make any sense. People just kind of blew their backpacks too soon. They did it outside of state versus state. They have nothing left in the tank. It resulted in us kind of getting a bad matchup, I think. I mean, you never know. Some people just get bad matchups for no good reason as well. But this I really think is clear. Like we pushed power outside of SvS. We got a bad matchup on power. And also it was clear that we couldn't even win prep because we didn't have anything left in the tank. So, there are 2 reasons. If you're new to this game, or if you're an experienced player and never realized this before, there are 2 reasons why we save for SvS prep in cycles like this. The experienced players. I've been learning from the experienced players, and there are 2 aspects of this you have to think of strategically. Number 1 is that you don't want to push power and then end up getting a tougher matchup. If you push power before SvS, then you can get a harder matchup for state versus state. And guess what? If they've been saving, their tank is not empty yet. So you're going to get a stronger matchup of people who have been saving for state versus state, and you have no chance. And that's what happened here, right? Like this is a stronger state. Like they have stronger whales than us. And it was a bad matchup because we pushed power and spent outside of state versus state. They did not. They still had stuff saved up. So not only were they already stronger than us, but they're going to get even stronger than us through the prep phase. And we're going to lose prep, and we're going to lose, it's just a loss all around. So instead of trying to compete against a losing battle, this is the strategy now. Instead of fighting against the wind in this case, and we're not going to win, right? It's clear that we can't win. So strategically, we decided, let's just conserve our resources, try to help educate people again, and basically save for the next state versus state prep, and hopefully we'll be in a better position. Now, that's not going to be easy. That's an entire month of having an entire state who has just shown us that they don't like saving to get them to save again. So I don't know if this state is going to make it, man. I don't know. And now, of course, comes the drama, because we've been talking a lot about what comes next. Are we going to transfer? Are we going to try to recruit people in and flush out the people who are not learning how to play the game properly? Or are we going to transfer out? Am I going to transfer in or out? I don't know. It's really too soon to make that decision yet, because I need to see what the rest of the state does. If people are actually learning how to do this properly and coming together and consolidating power so that we can organize better for state versus state, then we have some hope. If people don't do that, then despite what our alliance and other people think, I don't know. I got to do what's best for me and my account at some point. I'm going to have to transfer out, even though there's a whole bunch of people I like playing with here. So I don't know what to do yet. I got to kind of see how things play out. But that is the drama going on in my state. And remember, the one thing I promised you is I'm documenting my journey. And this right now is a very real, stressful part of my journey. Now, obviously, nobody likes to lose like this, but we're doing the best we can strategically given the current circumstances. So that's where we're at. So that's your little update on state versus state. Unfortunately, that means I'm going to have no state versus state content this Saturday, because I'm not going to be going for the castle. We're not going to be rising some epic battle early in the morning and trying to fight for hours for something that we know that we can't win. And essentially, we're just going to do it for fun and points, and that's it. Like, we're not going to do much. There's no content for me there this month for state versus state. Again, though, that is part of my journey, so just documenting my journey along the way. Hopefully this will be a rare occurrence, but that is what it is, as they like to say. So here we go. The only really event, I got some spending to do tonight, because I still do want to make sure that I'm spending as if I was making my account progression. So that's a little tricky, because now I got to keep track of, without actually doing the account progression, I have to keep track of what I want to be doing, even though I'm not doing it, and take the advantage of the deals that are presented to me as best I can. I am going to be doing a little bit of stuff for state versus state, just for the purpose of, we're not going to try to rank, basically, because that would cause us to use too much resources. But I am going to want to make sure that I get my basic points here so I can get basic rewards. And that's it, because these rewards, for example, we get a little something for that. So I'll do enough to get my 270,000 points here. And today is mainly this is a hero stuff day, and so I'll do my lucky wheel because I want Mia, and we'll do this after, but I'll do the spending first. So let's take a look at what we have to spend on first. First things first, we come into the standard deals. The custom pet chest, I was kind of waiting on this. Today is a little bit of a low spend day. I ended up needing a lot of these pet advancement materials chests, so I'm going to go for all of these right now. Actually, I was mixing it up with some of the advanced wild marks. It's probably smart to keep doing that. So I'll go 2-to-1 ratio, basically. I'll do the advanced wild marks at a 2-to-1. And I'll grab some of these, and then I'll grab them at the $10 mark. And that's all I'm going to do right now, because I'm trying to, still be a little efficient about it. Now, a couple people asked me in the Alliance and, in comments and stuff, it is true that this is only a value of 6 per dollar. The problem is it is hard to get fire crystals in bulk. So sometimes you got to take them, the deals that you can that are offered to you. I did a bunch of spending that's, it's on the border of inefficient, because it's only 6 fire crystals per dollar. And so I don't want to keep pressing that further. So I'm actually going to skip this and hope that we get some more fire crystal deals later on, because I'm pretty much maxed out and I'm ready to go to FC5 right now. So I don't really need to keep on buying these at an inefficient rate. I'm just hoping we'll have more of those specialty packs that we can, or special events that'll allow me to get these at a little bit of a better deal. So I'll buy them up to the $10 mark. Arguably, I can buy it even up to the $20 mark, but I just don't want to do that for the sake of VIP efficiency. And then the stamina pack, I am going to buy this, even though I'm not going to end up using it. Not going to end up doing Beast Day over here. So just buy that out because it's good to have those in the bank. And then the daily deals I'm going to grab as well. See if I get lucky on this. Yep, got a little lucky. All right, and then I'll grab these. claims. All right, and we're done with that. And now we look at the deals section. We got Hall of Heroes. Let's work this backwards again. So we got Deadshot. Just grab the sign-in rewards because I want to wait until another 5. Sign in. The Jolly Treasures. Or Journey Treasures, sorry. Journey Treasures. And now Hall of Heroes. So I am going to grab some of these kind of from the VIP efficiency. I've kind of like, I don't know if I really want to press Logan that hard. From what I understand, he could be a good defensive hero in certain situations, but kind of limited. So I just grabbed it up to the $20 mark just to be able to, you know, have some from the VIP for, you know, efficiency perspective. Just again, you know, that's looking for ways to get the Meteor March and Frostsphere at a better value. So, and this isn't like bad spend really. This is, you know, decent amount of things you get for those amounts. And then, you know, I'm just going to the $10 mark for the VIP aspect of it. So that's the deal section. And now as far as VIP, let's go to VIP because that's the rest of the spending. But if we go to the VIP section here, I'm not going to, let's see, I'm going to grab all the VIP. One of the subscribers suggested that I save these spins for a slower content day. And I think that's a good idea. So I'm not going to do the prestige wheel tonight. I'm going to save that for another day with maybe I have a little bit less content and a little less things going on. I already been talking too much about state drama tonight and we still have the wheel to do, the lucky wheel to do. So I think that's where we're at. Yeah, the rest of these events are going on, but nothing particularly interesting to share about them. And we'll do the lucky wheel and see how lucky I get. Now, there is something I want to say. If you are new to this event, or maybe some of you have been watching a while, you may not understand the logic here. What they'll say, what people will say as a recommendation, if you look at the spin rewards, they'll say spinning it, even for free to play, saving up enough gems and spinning it to 120 is the most optimal play, because at 120 you'll unlock this last chest, and there's significant rewards in there, 50 Mia shards. So by doing all the way up to 120 spins, you unlock the maximum value from the lucky wheel. However, as a whale with a lot of gems to spend and needing every little edge you can get, those extra spins, because you're allowed up to 150 spins, those extra spins are actually worth it in a sense, because, you know, while some of the things on the wheel are not all that great value, they're just resources, many of the items on the wheel are going to give you, you know, some kind of residual value anyways. So, but if you don't have the gems to do it, it's not really the most optimal thing to do. It is also useful to put points on the board for state versus state. But I'm not doing it for that reason tonight. I'm going to do maximum spins mainly so that I can try to get the maximum amount of Mia shards from the lucky wheel. So that's it. So here we go. All right, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nice. Oh, that's a really good one. 5, 10, 15, 20. And wow, that is a remarkably bad spin. A remarkably good spin followed by a remarkably bad spin. All right, 5, 10, 12. 4. 4 shards again. Come on, where's that good luck again? 1 shard. This is the unlucky wheel for me. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5, 6, 7. All right, now here begins the last 30 spins of inefficient spending. Let's see if I can get lucky on these inefficient spins. 3, well, that's better than none. What is that, 5? Yeah. Oh, nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, good. Those extra spins gave me some extra shards, so I'm happy about that. And now, here's the payoff. You get all these rewards as well. 5, 10, 20, 30, and 50. All right, so that's the lucky wheel. Here's the thing. You know, the problem is, that now, normally if you're doing a regular state versus state prep, you want to do the lucky wheel and then apply them to the heroes. The dilemma I have now is that if we go into my heroes, I've got Mia ready to recruit and go up. Now I can unlock her tonight. I probably will. I might as well just do that at least. That's only 10 shards. So I'll recruit her, but my dilemma at this point, now I have Mia, but you know, I'd like to start progressing her, and I can't if I want to save those for state versus state prep. I mean, there's not going to be much value to me. I've already got the points I need to unlock. Oh, the Transcend pack. I forgot about these. That is, you know, I think overall this is a decent value, and I like the VIP, so I always buy these. All right. So that's where we're at with the heroes, because if we look at the state versus state, like essentially I've got the basic points I need. There's not, you know, if I push for points when we're trying to save, it would be hypocritical of me to do, because that's the very thing we're trying to do. It just sucks to be in this situation where now I've got to sit on all this power and all these upgrades. I know it. I mean, you know, listen, if you're from my state, I get it. It sucks to do this. I've got a lot of things I want to upgrade. I got charms and chief gear and heroes now. Like, I really want to be starting to push some of this stuff. And it just feels irresponsible to do that when the whole point of what we're trying to do is save for state versus state prep. So, you know, here's me, proof in the pudding, living exactly what I'm saying. I've got 3 Gen 3 heroes that I'm just letting sit there because I don't think it's right to use the shards to promote them and, you know, do it outside of, like, we're not going to get any benefit from it in this state versus state. So I'm going to basically tank my account for a month. I mean, I'll have the power sitting there ready to go, but my account's basically going to be tanked for a month while I wait for the next state versus state prep. This really sucks. So please, again, if you're from my state, help me out here. Help me out, gang. Save with me. Save with me so the next state versus state prep, hopefully we'll get a better match and we'll have more in the tank to go for the state versus state prep, at least. Even if we get a bad match again, at least we'll have something in the tank for the prep phase. You can't just blow your backpacks all the time. Like, you got to wait for the state versus state prep because everyone else does. And if you don't, you're going to lose it, basically. So that's all I have for tonight. But I'm curious if you have similar stories on your state versus state, or if this has happened to you before, or you have any tips on how I can help unite the state, or do I need to be recruiting or thinking about planning on leaving? Like, I want to hear all your comments below, especially if you're an experienced player that has some advice on this topic, because this is a really frustrating situation to be in, and it feels like, you know, kind of crappy to be helpless when it's an entire state has to work together. I feel like too many times people think that one person can do it all, but we really can't. Like, even a whale, even with the strength and power I have, and in our state, the other whale Candy has, like, ultimately we're powerless if we don't have a team behind us to help. And that goes with strategy as far as battles, and it also goes with strategy in playing the game and prepping and saving resources and stuff like this. It takes a team, folks. Please, it takes a team. It takes an entire state working together for state versus state prep and the battle. So if we can't do that smartly, we're not going to get anywhere with this. So I want to hear the stories, and I want to hear the things that worked and what doesn't work, and what your strategies would be if you were in my shoes right now. I want to hear it in the comments. And most importantly, if you like this content and you want to continue following my journey to see how the spending goes, get some advice on spending, and how my strategy and gameplay goes, and how I evolve the character and evolve as a player, you got to help me out by giving me a like. You got to subscribe and turn on notifications. That way, whenever I post anything, you'll know about it right away. Thank you very much for joining me, and until next time, I'll see you later.